Welcome to the Juice Radio Talk Show. 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 Reality TV's church reviews. Let's talk happy love and marriage lifestyle. Come and talk with us. Come and share with us. Come and laugh with us. Come on and pray with us.
Regina Cole is a special guest. You should be following your lead. Bless. Subscribe on YouTube. Listen on podcasts. We live on IG and Facebook. This episode is sponsored by Truth and Triumph Ministries.
Happy Monday. We are so excited to have you with us on today. It is Money Monday. And welcome back to the Money Monday show here on the Juice Radio and Talk Show. We want to encourage you to go onto our YouTube and subscribe. Make sure you tag that little ring bell so that you can be notified anytime we're back on the air. And we want to encourage you to meet us every Monday from 12 noon until 12:30 for your lunchtime learning. I'm so excited to be with you again. I'm your host, Executive Pastor Tawana Grant. And today we are closing out on a wonderful series that we have been covering on recession proofing your business and your ministry. I'm sure that over the past few weeks, if we've journeyed through the strategies to not just survive, we want to thrive amid our economic climate and uncertainties. So today, as we close out on this series, we want to revisit some of our core things. We want to integrate in some of the latest news that could be affecting some of your decisions, some of the things that are happening in your community, in your industry dynamics. And we want to ignite the passion for resilient growth. Listen, you've got to self-initiate. You've got this self-passion. You've got to encourage yourself in the Lord. If you have a business or a ministry, you can't wait for others to tell you or encourage you in the vision and purpose that you've been given. You've got to be able to encourage yourself. You've got to figure out, how do I self-fuel myself even in times of uncertainty? And one of the things that we do is we increase our faith by the word. We increase our faith through knowledge. And so this is one of the purposes of Money Monday, is to share with you explicit information, not exhaustive, because there's a lot of information that you can glean and learn, especially very specific to your field of study or your ministry or business. But here we want to share information to you to help you grow in every capacity of your life. And so we want to encourage all of those who are joining us today. Thank you, Aaron, for joining. Thank you, little lady. We appreciate you all for coming in on today. Again, go ahead and like and share. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and push it out on your platform so that others can receive this information. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and make sure that you're commenting in both, because we appreciate your feedback. We want to make sure that what we're sharing is adding and giving you value. So today, again, we really want to close out on our series, and I'm already excited about what we're going to do next. Our next series is going to be amazing. We're going to be talking about moving forward, right? And so we want to close out on today. How do I recession proof? How do I get ready for the uncertainties that we know will be happening in this year and really be prepared to be proactive? How do I readily shift and move as things are changing around me? How do I solidify and be established and settled in the things that I'm called to do so that I can move with dexterity, with agility, but also with confidence? We don't want to make knee-jerk decisions. We don't want to make decisions that could cost us later. We want to be planning ahead. And so let's give you just a few of our most recent navigating the current landscape. We want to talk about what's our economic landscape and what are some of the updates that are happening since we had conversation on last week. So understanding your present economic environment is crucial to being an informed decision maker. So let's just talk about a few things. So small business administration reforms to prioritize the American citizens. So on March the 6th, just recently, March the 6th, 2025, the SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler announced reforms aimed at putting American citizens first. These changes are designed to streamline some of their processes and make resources more readily available, more accessible to business owners. So you need to make sure that you go to the SBA.gov. I'll say that again, SBA.gov, and make sure that you check out some of these recent streamlining processes and how they will operate to make things more efficient and effective for the business owner. And here's what it can imply to you: enhanced support and potentially more opportunities for funding. Listen, isn't that good news? That's good news today, that there's potentially more opportunities for funding and for growth in our small businesses and ministries. So you don't want to miss an opportunity by not being aware. You want to be informed. So make sure again that you go to the SBA.gov site and check out the latest news. Recent as March the 6th. So this is really new news. Also, secondly, an update that recently happened, expiration of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. So the TCJA and calls for tax reform. So as the TCJA approaches its expiration in 2025, it's going to expire. There are discussions that are occurring right now around tax reform, and so it has really intensified. Some small businesses are even out right now advocating for changes to ensure fair taxation and continue economic support. So this is important that we have advocacy who are out there for the small business. I know we hear in the news right now that we have a lot of people who are going for big corporations, and that is true. I want you to know that there are also those who are being our adjunct, that they're going out to advocate for us. They're being fiduciary representatives for us in spaces that perhaps you or I can't reach. But there are people who are going out and they are pushing for the small business owner ministries so that we have fair taxation, so that we continue to get the economic support that we need. And so I want to encourage you to go and read on the smallbusinessmajority.org. Go ahead and write that down, smallbusinessmajority.org, so that you can receive that information. Why? How does this impact me, influence me, Executive Pastor? Because potential shift in tax policies could impact your business financial planning for business and your ministries. It can influence how you need to operate. It can influence how you need to update on your financial spending that was planned for this year, how you need to lead your team in gathering right information, even as you pray, how you need to pray and combine together on your thoughts. How do you gain synergy around some of these potential changes? And then lastly, one of the most significant changes that are also happening in the last week is reluctance to borrow hindering productivity. So a recent study by the British Business Bank highlights that small and medium-sized enterprises' aversion to borrowing is contributing to our poor productivity. High borrowing costs and a preference for slower growth or overtaking on debt are significant factors. What does this mean? We've got to consider balancing continuous financial management with strategic investment that is essential to our growth. We don't want to be so risk adverse, right? We don't want to be so risk adverse that we miss opportunities that could advance us in our growth. Here we are, you want to grow your business, and then we need to pursue where there is funding, where there's partnership, where there's suppliers, where there's investors. We don't want to be cause of our risk adverse and making sure that we do manage that. Debt can be managed. Can I say that again? You need to write that down. Debt can be managed. And there is such a thing as good debt. Debt that is within your plan, within your budget, and debt that is going to advance you is good debt to have. And so we want to encourage you, right, so that you are balanced it out. We don't want to be too far to one side or the other. We don't want to spin the pendulum so far over that we are out of balance. We want to remain balanced so that we are level-headed, so that we are making good decisions. And while, yes, there is a level of risk, there's a level of risk in everything we do. How do you know that? Even making the decision to stop is a risk to that. Even making the decision not to do means you also have to evaluate what you are missing. And so what we want to do is encourage you today that as you are looking at opportunities to borrow, look at how it impacts your productivity. Are there things that by borrowing will help you advance your mission, will help you advance your purpose? And so therefore you have to balance those out with also the liabilities that come along with it. And so if you want more information on that, you can go to thetimes.co.uk. Amen, to get additional information. We want to encourage you today that information is available to you. And I always say information is powerful when you use it. So when we found out that there are dynamics and that there are ways that we can improve, that there are ways that we can challenge ourselves to step outside of our comfort zone. Sometimes you don't grow in comfort. You don't grow in comfort. And so you have to remind yourself that there will be times where I will be uncomfortable and sometimes moving forward, uncomfortable and making decisions. But know this, that I'm growing. Know this, that I'm learning. Know this, that either I learn or I win. I never lose. And so when you frame your mind, it's a reframing of your mindset so that you can advance as a business owner, as a ministry leader, as an entrepreneur. You've got to have the mindset that you rise up to the occasion. You know, I was speaking at a conference not too long ago, and one of the things I reminded them is that leaders are not identified or they show up at the perfect time. No, they are revealed. It's already in you. There's a revelation that comes about when you have an opportunity to show up well. And so we want to encourage you, now that we have some ideas, some of the things that are current in the news, some really economical updates that are happening that could change the way you need to make decisions, we want you to leverage that information. All right. And so we're going to go again into our final update for the Recession Proofing Your Business and Ministry. So as we talked about some of those critical economic updates, we want to advise you to advance your strategies for resilient growth. Yes, you've got to continue to build. This is not the time to sit down and to relax. This is the time to build and to strengthen and to retain what has already been put in your hand. And so with that, we want to explore some of the advanced strategies to fortify what you already have. We want to have it preserved. We want to have it remain. We want to have it sustained so that you can continue to move forward. So building on your previous discussions today, what we've had, we want to talk about some of those things that you can now embrace so that you can further fortify your business and ministry. So one of those things, number one, is to embrace strategic borrowing for growth. We were just talking about it. Embrace it. I know that there's some things that are difficult for us to consume because it's different. But know that sometimes in the context of holding off and doing some things, we want to be judicious. We want to be prudent. We want to be frugal. But there's some strategies that we can take even in borrowing because they can enable us to have investments in technology. It can enable us to have investment in our talent where you want to grow your talent. You want to grow your team. It can enable you to have some investments in your infrastructure where things maybe are outdated. And if you did some minimal updates, it can improve your productivity. It can improve your efficiency. It can improve your effectiveness. And really what this does is it drives productivity and your competitiveness. You've got to compete in the market with others. And so what is it about you and the service you provide or your product that differentiates you from everybody else? How are you the person of selection? You want to operate from such a capacity that you're always looked at as the first one to consider. Listen, I had an offer come to me even last week saying, hey, can you come and speak at this particular event? You want to be in such a position, in such a posture that when people think about that type of service, they say, hey, I know someone. And so they think of your business. And so sometimes having that context of a strategic borrowing can help you in trying to delineate your business and services from others and put you in the forefront. So some of the steps that you can take is assess investment opportunities. Look where there are areas within your organization where investing in it could yield significant return. This is how you maximize your investment, your ROI, your return on investment. I want to maximize it by putting the money in the place that's going to give me the most benefit, the most return, such as digital transformation, community outreach program. How can I, depending on what you're in, whether you're in business or ministry, where can I put this in that will give me the most return, where I can be the most beneficial, where I can be the most effective, right? And then you want to also explore some favorable options for your investment. What are some of those investment options that are most favorable to me, right? And so you need to assess them. You have to explore them. You need to have the conversation. And so we just talked about going onto the SBA on their site. So some of them with the SBA reforms underway, you want to investigate some of the new improved loan programs. What's out there? I know you might be like me. Maybe you've applied before and it didn't work. Try it again. I've tried again and it worked. So I'm a witness to that. So maybe you've applied before under other conditions, under different reforms or policies. And now that things are changing, even with your business, maybe the business is in a different financial health status, or you've made enough tenure. Maybe you tried and you were just starting your business 6 months, a year, and your tenure was too short. Now that you have years behind you, try it again. Go back and assess what would be favorable for you, because you don't want to leave opportunities for assistance on the table. You don't want to leave that. You want to pursue it. So pursue, advance, thrive. You want to move forward. Second point is looking and prepare for tax policy changes. I know we talked about that before, but this is important to us to revisit because, again, we just mentioned the potential expiration of the TCJA necessitates proactive tax planning to mitigate risk and capitalize on opportunities. You've got to take advantage of where you are. Right? You want to be proactive. When we talk about scripturally, you have to weigh up the cost of the things that you're doing. You have to be a warrior that has discernment and mindset and an insight to think forward, because that's where we're going. We're going forward in this year. We're forgetting those things that are behind us. This is a new year. And so we want to receive the information that's going to help us grow our business. So what are some of those action steps you can take for point number 2, preparing for tax policy changes? One of them is consult a tax professional. This is key. Yes, it may cost you money. Yes, I recommend, I use a tax preparer as well. But what happens is when you engage with an expert, they understand some of these upcoming and current policies, and they can help explain them to you so that you can understand them in layman terms. And then they also understand how these changes will affect your financial landscape as it relates to your business. It's one thing to have information. It's another thing to understand. It's one thing to get information, but it's another thing to apply it. And so when we think about it, we want to understand the information, and then we want to apply it. And sometimes we need help in there. We need strength. In the counsel of many, there's safety. And so we want to encourage you that even as you consider pursuing a tax preparer professional to help you in that, it can be to your benefit. And so sometimes what they help you save, what they help you to glean back, will outweigh what you're paying and the expense for their services. I've seen it. I definitely benefit from it. The second action step that you can take is implement tax efficient strategies. So consider actions like accelerating expenses or deferring income where appropriate to optimize your tax position. Sometimes you want to see where you are. Consider this even as an individual. When you're looking at making moves with your health care. And sometimes as we're getting near the end of the year, we're like, oh, I need to spend this up because I want to maximize all of my FSA, HSA, whatever programs you're in. The same as with your tax benefits. You want to look at how do I either push the needle or slow down so that I receive the most benefit from it. And so again, this is information, but information is only powerful when we use it. So make sure that we are considering that. The third thing we want to talk about is investing in employee development and retention. Listen, good help is hard to find. Good help is hard to find. I know that's a saying, but it's so true. And we see this everywhere we go. So one of those things, a commitment to skilled teams is a cornerstone for having resilience. You will go farther. You will go faster with a team that understands your business. You will go farther. You will go faster, and you will be resilient with a team who has the subject matter expertise to grow your business. So, and they enable you. When you have a team who are efficient and effective, they have the skill sets necessary to help you be adaptable, to help you be able to sustain in performance. And performance matters. And when they're able to operate with you in purpose, when they're able to operate with you on your mission, you're able to get there quicker because everyone is more efficient. They operate in their lane. They have the continuity in how to operate together. They understand the core mission, and then they can drive it forward even without your assistance. And so it is so much easier as an entrepreneur, as a business leader in ministry, to have people that you train up who are able to carry forward the vision, where you don't always have to put your hands to it. This is why I talk about you don't want to be a juggler. A juggler has to touch all the balls. No, you want to be a delegator who has the efficiency and the knowledge to understand where am I delegating the effort or the energy so that I'm using my energy well, right? Because if you're in everything, everything won't be in the top excellence that it could be. And so that's why it's so important Invest in your team, skill up your team where they need to be enabled, whether that's in ministry. I do that in ministry. How do I train you so that you hone your skills even better? How do I train you in the word? How do I train you in whatever God gifting he's given you so that you can wield your sword even better, so that you can wield your anointing even better, so that your tool, amen, and your talent become a blessing to you and not a hindrance. And so the same is when we're operating in our marketplace, when we're working in our vocation. How do you train your team in such a way that you are present without being physically there? And it's so crucial, so key. Sometimes my team will say, no, Tawana wouldn't want that done that way. So even without my presence there, I've left such an imprint in the way that they do things so that they know what excellence looks like. And so that's how you grow your team, so that even when you're not present, even when you're not there, because you've shown them how to do it, because you've helped them, because you've led them, it's been I do, we do, now you do. So when you've been a good leader in that capacity, they know what excellence looks like. They know what your expectations are. And so you don't have to be all the way in the weeds on everything. You be available. You're being there to remove roadblocks. You're there to help support. You're there to help courage, but you don't have to have your hands on everything. And so that's why it's important, as you want to be a next level leader, as you want to be a business owner and entrepreneur, we've got to get away from being taxed in every piece of everything. And so we grow our team. And there is a season where it is you. When you're just a church plant or you're just starting your business, you're just starting it off, a lot of times it is the tiller. You are the one. You are the brand. But as you start to grow, as you start to evolve, as you start to broaden your tent, as you start to enlarge your territory, you cannot cover it all. And so what you have to do is skill people to be able to do it in the capacity that they know you would want it done. And so how do I do that? Some of the action steps you can do. What can you do in skilling people up? What can you do? Offer continuous learning opportunities. I am a continuous learner. It brings me strength. It brings me joy. It brings me peace to be able to take information and then use it, to be able to help myself be better. That's why I tell them all the time, I'm not in competition with anybody. There's no competition between the sun and the moon. They both shine when it's their turn. But I'm in competition with myself. I want to be better today than I was yesterday. I want to be better next week than I was this week. I'm trying to push myself forward through the word of God and through the knowledge of earthly understanding and wisdom as well. And so that's what you do with your people. Offer them opportunities for continuous learning. Sometimes it's you. So provide some training opportunities. Sometimes it's bringing in others or allowing them to go to training with others who are more efficient in that area. And so that you hire to your weakness, not your strength. I don't need two of me. I don't need two of me. And that's why I try to encourage people. You be the best that you can be because everybody else is taken. Be your best. And when you're best, you help others to be their best. And so that can be providing training, that can be enhancing skills that are relevant to evolving your business needs. Sometimes they just don't know. Sometimes, and so you need to bring in another person, a consultant or a trainer, or have the ability to identify that we have a gap. That's the first part. Acknowledge that we have a gap in our understanding and then fill it, remediate it, approach it. Don't hide your head in the sand. Listen, you can't fix what you won't face. You've got to fix it even when it's broken. You've got to pray about how do I, Lord, now enable this space, whether it's in my job, whether it's in my home. Can I get real with you? Whether it's in my home, whether it's my ministry. How do I now fix this? Because I recognize there's a gap and it's crucial to making sure that it is right fitted, that is right suited, that is in a healthy state for the family or the business or the ministry to grow. So look at all of our things that we're doing, all of our vocations as continuous learning. How do I learn? Yes. And then how do I foster learning as a culture? Foster it as a culture so that people don't feel funny to ask a question when they don't know. Sometimes we hinder our own business from growing, hinder our own ministry from growing because we're the only stopgap for all information. No, I want people to feel comfortable to share, comfortable to be a part of the experience because I need your shared intellect. We're smarter when we all come together. All right. Secondly, what you want to do is foster that kind of supportive culture. That's what I'm talking about. Foster a supportive culture where people feel comfortable to ask questions, comfortable to say, hey, I know that's what you said. I know you're the lead. I know you're the last voice. But here's what I also want to add. Here's where I think maybe could be a blind spot that maybe you haven't considered. Here's where I have is another recommendation. And so that gives you opportunity to pursue other options that might, if you listen, be better. That's the whole thing. It doesn't matter who get the credit as long as we're all going up. As long as we're all getting to the next level, as long as we're advancing our purpose, I'm grateful for the shared intellect of others. All right. Number 4, strengthen community engagement. So if you're in ministry and even if you're in business, some of your businesses could be strengthened by involving others in the community, reaching out. And so one thing in the context of deepening your ties, right? We talked about that for businesses. How do I make it sticky? How do I make it where they always think about me when they need that kind of service or that kind of product? And it comes about deepening our ties with our community, and you can bolster your support. You can improve your support. You can increase your support, your trust, and your relevance, because it is essential to being relevant and your resilience to your business. Without clients, you won't stay in business. You've got to have a client demand that you meet, right? And so you got to think about that. So what are some of the things that you can do? You can collaborate with some local initiatives. We talked about that before. You don't always have to do everything on your own. Have it where you can share the expense. Have it where you can share the journey, and then bring in other partners or organizations that address a similar need. When you are all of one accord, when you all have a similar mission and vision, you can glean together so that you have a seamless messaging and everybody wins. There's no competition. You can bring in someone who has a advantage to your business, where it looks like, oh, these two collaborate so well together, so that you prop each other up, so that you build each other up, so that you're not in competition, but because we come together, we enhance our impact. Don't you know that? Oh my goodness. You enhance your impact and you also improve your visibility. Sometimes you don't have to be the one that starts every program. Sometimes you can say, hey, we're doing this teaching. Y'all come on over here with us. Somebody else say, we're doing this over here. We'll join you. And that's how we get the shared strength of many. And we got to think about it that way. We got to think about it and not be so afraid that others might get credit, right? You're trying to go after the end goal, which is to prosper your business, which is to prosper your ministry. And you have to be okay not to always have it be with your name on it. Lord have mercy. We got to be okay with that. We got to be okay so that we can reach other people in other dynamics, in other lanes that perhaps we couldn't touch on our own. Sometimes people have influence in other spaces that could be the very thing that you need if you're open to it. Next, leverage your local media. You know, we want to use our Facebook. We want to use our Instagram. We want to use our YouTube. We want to use other mediums because you can reach more people online. Maybe it's your LinkedIn. Maybe some of your organizations who have online content that you can add. It can go faster than just you trying to reach one person at a time. Think about that. How many people are you connected to on Facebook? How many people are you connected to on Instagram? How many people can you get connected to on YouTube? That is more expansive than you can going one person at a time. So we want to encourage you, use the media platform. Use them to the degree that you make stronger connections and you foster an openness so that others can be a part of your experience. Oh, we're getting to the end today. It's been so good. I'm going cross country. You want to cultivate a mindset of resilience and innovation. You want to cultivate that. You want to be to such a degree that you are flexible in changing, that you marry the mission, but you date the method. Meaning, this is how we're going to do it because this is our mission. We know our mission, but how we execute can change. And so you want to have that mindset, especially as we approach uncertain times. Because they will define your trajectory. It will define how fast you get somewhere. If you set your mindset that this is the only way, these are the only people, this is how I do it, it's got to be this way, you will lock yourself in. You don't want to build walls. You want to build bridges. That's what Martin Luther King said. Don't build walls, build bridges. You want to be able to build bridges so you can connect. So you cultivate that mindset of resilience. You do that by embracing agility, meaning be prepared to pivot. You want to be able to adapt to changing circumstances and viewing your challenges as opportunities for innovation. If you go around and talk about, oh, I got these problems, that's how your posture, your thinking, your understanding, even the way, the filter that you will hear information through. Thank you, Holy Ghost. The filter that you hear information through will shift when you look at challenges as opportunities. Because when I hear it, people ask me all the time, how are you so positive? How do you do what you do? I do it because you have to have a mindset. You have to frame your mind. You have to be able to reframe things, right? And think another way. As a man thinketh, so is he. Think another way. So where it would come as an opportunity, as a challenge, rather, you reframe it. That's an opportunity. Now, how do I now pivot and have agility? You want to foster collaboration. How do we now cultivate that mindset of resilience and innovation? Foster collaboration. In the collaboration of others, you can encourage communication. You can foster teamwork, both within your organization and without your external partners, your vendors. Encourage them and let them know that I can't win without you. I do that all the time in marketplace in my role. When I'm having challenges with other teams, I said, listen, how can we help you? How can we rectify this? Because I can't win without you. I need you. I need your team. I need your part of the whole end-to-end process. We all got to be working in tandem together to get the win. So you got to foster team collaboration and then commit to continuous improvement. This is so important. Commit to it, meaning this is who I am. I'm always looking to do better. Yes, I erred here. Yes, I didn't do well there, but this is what I do. I have a mindset that I want to quickly remediate. And you don't want to stay in error long. When you recognize that you can do something better, when you recognize that this is not working, you don't want to stay in that posture too long because you lose money, you lose influence, you lose accreditation with your brand. You start to have a different purview with others, right? So quickly, always have a continuous improvement mindset so that you can move forward. Lastly, we want to embark on a path forward. That's what we're going to talk about starting our new series. We want to embark on a path forward. Even as we conclude this series, remember that resilience is not a destination. I want to say that. Resilience is not a destination. It is a continuous journey. It's continuous. The insight and strategies that we've talked about, some of the tools that we've gleaned, these should equip you for this path. Resilience is a path. You take it and you go along for the journey. So thank you again for joining us on today's Money Monday. I'm Executive Pastor Tawana Grant. We hope that this series on recession proofing your business, being able to pivot, shift, and move has been a blessing to you. We wanted you to have advanced strategies so that you can explore these strategies, so that you can look at how can I look at borrowing? How can I prepare for taxes? How can I invest in my team? How can I expand in my community? And then take decisive action. We want to be doers of what we heard as well. So continue to reflect on the information you've gleaned. We pray that God continues to bless you. Peace and blessings to you on today. Money Monday. I'm Executive Pastor Tawana Grant. God bless you.